Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the Minecraft Progression Series. In this series, we go through the various updates of Minecraft in order to relearn everything ever since my multi-year hiatus. Project Glassification ended up going for a lot longer than I originally anticipated, so I'm deciding to do post-recording with the video sped up in the background. Over here, I'm showing off everything that I'm going to do. Obviously, I'm not going to be showing off all of the waiting around for the furnaces to complete because that would just be ridiculous. In addition, I did not complete the animal farm because this was just taking way too long and I have other things to do today. But that's besides the point, okay? Now that we have that out of the way, let us continue with this little project of ours. The idea behind Project Classification was that originally, when this world was started, it was just the regular biome, the default forest biome. However, after a while passed, because this was opened up in Alpha 1.0.4, specifically around the time of Beta 1.3, meaning the era wherein the biomes changed. I think it was Beta 1.3. I might have to go back and check that. The biome of the island became a desert biome. And as such, it would no longer rain there. And a few other occurrences happened. And it turned the glass into a really weird yellow color, almost yellowish greenish. And I wasn't too big on that color, but I figured it could have been any other biome, could have been worse. And then starting in, I believe it was beta 1.8.1, or it was in pre-release 1 for 1.9, one of those two, specifically 1.8.1 for beta. The world turned into a mountain biome. However, the issue with the mountain biome is that it begins to snow. And at first, I didn't think anything of it. I just figured, okay, it just makes the grass a lighter color, but it looks greener, so it's even better than it was originally. However, that turned out to be my biggest oversight, as I did not realize how much damage the snow could actually do in the game of Minecraft. I know snow in real life is pretty hectic and it can cause the downfall of infrastructure. However, I figured, oh, this is a video game. It's not going to be too bad. Boy, was I wrong. It turns out that the snow can actually break your rails. In fact, if you watch the fail episode of, that's not even a part of the main series, but it is recorded in the series. It was intended to be an episode, but it just was not good enough to be considered an episode. If you watch that, you'll realize that the rail cart broke. A lot of torches broke. In fact, most of these torches are replaced. And worst of all, mobs started spawning on this platform. And I don't want the mobs to spawn on this platform. That's actually really bad for us. Okay? That is so bad that a mob could get in here. And because of that, there's a high likelihood that it just screws us over in the long run. And we don't want that. We want to be able to succeed. And once more, I'm recording with no sound because trust me, this game sped up sounds ridiculous. Okay, it's just like, although I don't have a deep enough voice for it, but it just sounds like clicking over and over again. And I don't want that. In fact, in the original video, you could hear my mouse clicks, not in this time around, because I don't want you guys to be put through that. It's not something that I think you need to be put through in the moment, but it's okay nonetheless. Great. We can get an agreement of that. Of course, I gotta tell you, man, I am not the best builder when it comes to flat surfaces in this game so far. I could get better in the future. And I grossly miscalculated how much glass I really needed. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to separate this episode into sections involving which era of glass construction I'm currently in. Now, when we get to full release 1.1, I'm not going to be doing this. I'm going to be showing off some of the new additions. And in addition, believe it or not, I'm going to be doing some grinding, but it's not going to be completely on camera. What ends up happening is I want to be able to do a less, time filler video because I realized a lot of my early videos, the reason some of them were so long is because I just didn't edit anything out. And while I am of the camp that you should show as much as you can, there are some things that just no one wants to watch. Nobody wants to watch me go to and fro the base. Nobody needs to see me go up and down the stairs to get to the mob farm or any such practice. I think if you guys have seen the series long enough, you'll know how I get to and fro. Therefore, I can just edit that out, and it would actually be easier for me as the commentary would be much more free-flowing, and it would give me individual sections to take a swig of my water or something, assuming I have one on hand, instead of just drinking and eating while recording, because I know some people just don't like that. I was never against it, mind you, but I know that some people are. Therefore, I think it'll help them in the long run. In addition, And this is the big addition I have to add here. This took, well, not the big, this little plan was originally slated to be about 2 hours. I planned for it. Nah, no. I was like, okay, I set 2 hours aside of the day. We'll get this done. Easy peasy, no problem. But then it just kept dragging on and on. And I didn't realize just how much I actually spent doing. And I'm cutting stuff out because you don't need to see me go through every single trip to mine sand and put them in the furnace because that would just get annoying. Instead, what I do is once I run out of glass, I'll just go get more glass and then come back when I have the glass already done. Because trying to do this by editing in and out, and I'm going to tell you the truth, we do not finish project classification in this video. In fact, this is going to be our one of the unfinished projects so far. As for why despite the fact that this is 1.0 and I'm not doing any of the cool 1.0 additions, such as the Ender Dragon fight, I've said it before, but for those of you who are new, we cannot do them as the Ender Dragon's stronghold, the stronghold to get to the end portal, does not exist in the confines of this world until full release 1.9. The reason being is that originally only one stronghold appeared in the world, and then it became three. However, all the chunks where it could have been loaded have since been overrun by previous updates. Therefore, no stronghold will ever generate. However, if I go into the Nether in full release 1.9, we can actually create new chunks that didn't exist yet, wherein I could then find the stronghold, because there will be 128 of them as opposed to the 3 at the current moment. In addition, I can now put torches back on those blocks because if you guys watched really early parts of this series, also, I gotta say, glass was really, and I mean really fragile in 1.0. I barely touched it, okay? I just clicked it, and it's still just breaking. However, that's why I decided to start breaking it with my fist, because I didn't want to accidentally click on snow and just instant mine it or something. Okay, it really feels like I have a haste 2 beacon, and it looks like I have a haste 2 beacon, even though I really don't. As for how this was done, after I finished, peeling out all the snow, because part of Project Glassification was to get the snow out of the base. If it's on the roof, then so be it, but I don't want it in the base. In addition, we are going to be putting vines around the roof of Project Glassification for future instances. However, for the time being, that is not what we will be doing. Instead, we are going to be focusing on the updates. I just wanted to begin Project Glassification, and I did not realize that a piece of glass broke there. What the hell? When did that happen? We are going to begin Project Glassification. I'll probably finish it off screen, show you the finished product, or you'll just be seeing the finished project as we go along in the series, just on my off time. I just wanted to get a large chunk of it done in one go. And I mean a large chunk of it. I even get to that spawner, the hostile mob spawner that every Skyblock survival series uses, because it's just so effective, despite the fact that there were many other more effective attempts at spawners that could be used. However, those older spawners really do not work anymore, as they were designed with old mechanics in mind. And what I'm doing here is going back to get the original design, because originally I used 4 redstone torches and 2 torches per sand block for the cacti. However, I decided, let's just make it completely redstone. And the reason for that is I think it looked cool. Okay? Because back in the day when they made with Herobrine, they would always joke about him mining with redstone torches for some reason. And I never got that. Why redstone? Is it because it's red? If that's the case, then they could have picked anything else. I honestly think the fact that they associated redstone with Herobrine really slowed down the development of redstone in younger people. I think more people would have been curious to what redstone was, but if you just associate it with a fictional character, then they probably don't care about it. And I mean fictional in every sense, not just fictional as in he's a game character, but fictional in that even in the context of the game we're talking about, he's not in the game, he's not in the code, he's nowhere in the game outside of the patch notes, which all jokingly did you see that? I just tapped the mouse, which all jokingly removed Herobrine, even though they really didn't. Although I would be curious if they actually removed it. Wouldn't that be so cool if they actually added him back in? Because at one point in the patch notes, they don't bright removed Herobrine, and if they added him into the game at that point, that would have been epic. Honestly, make him a boss mob. I don't know. That's what should have been added, not the warden. It should have been hero brain. That's a joke. I know why a lot of people actually like the warden, but still, I just think that it would have fit in more, and it maybe would have brought back old players. But then again, they probably don't care about some of the old players because the new players spend a lot more money, especially because a lot of little kids are on the other version of Minecraft, the Bedrock edition, considering that it is the more played edition if you count phone users, console users, and PC users as one group. And that leads to just more people being on it. However, the reason I don't play Bedrock is because I played Minecraft for a long time on the original. I played on both, okay, but the reason I record on Java is just because it's the one that I just know it a bit more. I know the mechanics a lot more than I know the Bedrock mechanics, and because of that, I'm just so used to it. In addition, part of it was to relearn everything, and I knew that I can't play old versions in Bedrock without some insane hacking, and even then, I wouldn't be able to go that far back. Uh, and that's the problem. I wanted to be able to show off as much as I could, so I wanted to start off in alpha effectively. I know realistically I could go back and continue the progression series showing off some of the alpha updates that did not exist in the main launcher for Minecraft, because at some point I switched to the Betacraft launcher, and that's how I got my skin back and everything else. Therefore, I made it possible to keep playing. And this is what I meant by I referenced the old design. Originally, I designed it like that. Only difference is that there were two regular torches on those to prevent mobs from spawning, because that was back when mobs could still spawn on slabs. Yes, there was a point in time where mobs could spawn on slabs. Pigs were spawned determined based off light levels. Same goes with sheep, as they would spawn in my own bases at some points, and I just fell off again. Are you kidding me? Did I really do that? Unbelievable. You can tell I don't really care about getting cacti anymore. I have an entire row of cacti as stacks, so I will most likely never be using that much cacti unless some crazy update occurs where just green dye becomes the most important item ever. I don't know. It becomes a new netherite. That would be funny, but I don't think so. At the current, and that's another instance of me running out of glass, so let's go again. In this instance, I decided to go mining to make the time pass by, because it turns out that it takes 64 increments of 10 seconds or 640 seconds in order to make all of the glass cook itself. 640 seconds is roughly what, 10 minutes and 40 seconds. Cool. Wait, is that right? Yeah. No. 640. Yeah, it's 10 minutes and 40 seconds. What am I talking about? What am I talking about? Yeah, I'm correct. And because of that, we just need to. And I gotta tell you, because I keep forgetting to place the glass properly, or because I'm just not accustomed completely to the building in an entire roof like this. Because a project like this, I've never done this kind of stuff before. This was the most improvised plan I've ever had, because this was never meant to be a case. It was supposed to be an open roof, open air kind of sky base. However, because the base froze over in the ocean, and because the biome changed in a way that was quite brutal to say the least, I had to improvise. Okay? It's the calm before the storm, and you'll occasionally see me clicking in and out of the inventory. For those of you guys who don't know, because I knew I was going to be doing this as a post commentary at some point in this third recording, because the first two recording sessions I was commentating live, but I realized it was way too long. It was kind of dull, and we were not getting that much done. So starting here, I just started to put on some rock and roll music and was just listening to it. I was actually listening to, I believe it's called Undead Civilization or Undead Organization. The guys who wrote So You Think You Can Kill Me? Undead Corporation. Okay, Killing Me If You Can. That's the thing. I was listening to Undead Corporation. And a few other a few other music tracks. I was listening to, say, Diary of Jane. I listened to Childlike Death Sentence. What other songs did I listen to while recording this? I know I listened to some other songs. I listened to the Umineko outro, the para baira, la, la, that one. And at one point I decided I don't want to build up to the mob farm, so I'm gonna start killing as many mobs as I can, and in the hope to get an ender pearl. Here's the thing: I only really have feather falling 1 boots that are made of iron, and that's it. Other than that, I'm completely armorless. The fact that I didn't die even once is honestly, it makes me feel good about myself, but realistically, it shouldn't. It's just the fact that I got really fortunate in that situation. But sadly, at no point do I ever encounter an Enderman. Therefore, I have to resort to building upwards. That's right, I now have to build up again. And that becomes its own little challenge as I make an entire road to the roof of the mob farm. Although I don't believe you ever see the completed project in the context of this video because I realized I just edited that out because it was way too much filler and I just needed to show you what was important and not the rest of it because if I showed you every single little detail, well, I'm pretty sure somebody would have told me to stop already. I don't know who that is, but somebody would have. It would have been way too long. And I'm still dragging this out, by the way. This project classification thing didn't just extend to the top section, it extends to the whole base. I want every single main part of the base that I frequently inhabit that uses torches to be under glass at this point because it prevents the environment from taking over. And you'll see that because I have feather falling one boots, I just stopped caring about fall damage at one point. That's not a good thing. I really should care more about fall damage as the episode 25, which has already been uploaded at the time of this video's uploading, I died of fall damage quite a bit. And I gotta tell you, it was not a good time. And I also want to say that the original commentary for this was me talking about what did I talk about during this? Oh, I remember. Not in this section, but in the first two recording sessions before I realized I'm just gonna make this post commentary. This is getting ridiculous. I talked about the fact that Johnny Depp won and Amber Heard lost. I was I didn't cheer or anything. I was like, good. That's pretty much my reaction. It was like, oh great, they did their job. Because let's be honest here, what happened? Oh yeah, by the way, I get glitched in the glass there, but that's just the point. The issue with that is that Amber Heard, realistically, the case should not have been that long. They should have realized what was going on a lot sooner, but for some reason they just didn't. And you got to realize that sometimes the court system is like that. Okay, they're comprised of people; they're not perfect. But the fact that it took this long was really just a real kicker in the face. It didn't feel correct. Well, I shouldn't say feel because if you resort to feeling, then you have no real argument. What I should say is that on a logical standard, the fact of the matter is all those recordings existed where she admitted to hitting him. She should have, and the fact that it was a defamation suit wherein she spoke in quite an aggressive way towards the guy. I don't really know too much about Mr. Johnny Depp himself, other than the fact that he's in a lot of movies. I don't know him personally. I don't know anything about his life. I don't really follow movie stars for that. I know he's in Pirates of the Caribbean, I believe. And that I'm not kidding, but I just followed the case and I was really interested in it. Still, though, the fact that she really said my dog stepped on a bee at one point, come on, guys. Should she really not come up with anything better? But then again, it probably is a good thing that she came up with a really bad idea because that made it just a bit easier for Johnny to win. It still took way too much effort. And at this point, I really wanted to see things from a more panoramic angle. Therefore, I switched to a F1 view. But moving away from that discussion, because not everyone cares about court cases in a Minecraft video, although considering the fact that I did talk about a King of Games Rule 34, it really doesn't surprise me that I get horribly off topic in these videos. I don't really have any topic to talk about. This is mostly an improvised section. As a matter of fact, this really has no script to it. This is just me talking about my experience building this. However, when you really analyze it, it's just me right clicking over and over again while making sure not to fall, or at the very least doing my best not to fall, thus making it possible for me to keep playing for a longer time. And I also decided to just run around with less armor in this episode, not just to keep the other armor as souvenir because it has feather falling one on everything, but also to show off the skin because I actually really like the skin. And from now on, I have two different skins for this series. When I do the Shuvi skin, it means we're doing progression stuff. And then I have another skin, which is the Delanor A. Nox skin, made by a person called Player. That's going to be the skin for when I have to do a grinding episode or some project that is not relevant to the update. That way we can make more progress in the world besides focusing on whatever the heck it was added in this era. And around this point in the video, I believe I start working on the mob roof, because one of the issues was that the mob farm was slowing down because there were mobs spawning on the roof of it. Therefore, in order to speed it back up, I had to light up the roof. Problem with lighting up the roof originally is that it was lit up, and then the snow biome made it so that the torches were removed, and only about half of it was lit by some point in time. Meaning that I had to make an upwards ladder system again. I think they're called ladders, yes. However, there was no real way to connect the ladders as it is disconnected from the floor. In fact, the whole mob farm is disconnected from the floor, if you can believe that. So I had to connect it with glass and make sure that everything runs again. As you can see, there really is nothing touching the floor of the mob farm. It completely defies all laws of physics, but oh well, am I right? Oh well, indeed. And I'll occasionally pick stuff up from the mob farm just to get some looting, because this is a looting 3 sword, knockback to Bane of Arthropods 5 sword that I got off a level 41 enchant. And this was back in the day when they used all your levels. That's right, every single one of them. You know, people like to say, oh, new Minecraft has so much cool things. Well, it is a lot easier to get levels in the new game, assuming you're not dying over and over again. But then again, I guess it comes down to practice, right? I'm not proficient in the 1.9 and onwards combat system. However, I believe that after finishing a full up playthrough of 1.9, where we can finally fight the rematch version of the Ender Dragon, I will have gotten used to the new combat system, thus making it easier for me to play with it. Because I'm really original here. I prefer 1.8 combat. Ooh. And the truth is, I really do prefer the prior to 1.9 combat a lot more than new combat. But I think that comes to do with the fact that it's the one that I played the most. Sword blocking, not having to rely on shields. It's just how I got used to playing the game. I'm almost positive that if I played 1.9 first and then switched to 1.8, I probably would like 1.9 more, because I would call it more strategic. And I won't lie, I think 1.9 is highly strategic for single player. And a lot of people like to rack on 1.8 combat as though it was just spam clicking go burr. Why do people say go burr? Is that like a sound effect or something? Is that from a show or something? I really never understood where that came from. But the idea is that they just say, oh, it's a spam clicking and nothing else. Well, no, it's not just spam clicking. There are combos, there are strategies to be used in that. However, I understand that people are looking for different things in their little PvP stuff. They don't just want to be spam clicking, they maybe want to be more strategic, more tactical. And while I enjoy tactical elements in games, I also know that sometimes you just want to get a move on. Okay, sometimes things just drag, and you don't want things to drag. Sometimes you just want to finish something and then move on with your life. I believe everyone in the audience can agree with me on that one, because I don't think stagnation is the goal. The goal is to complete your goals, not to rot away. Therefore, I always say that if you're going to be doing something, at least plan it out so that it doesn't take too short of a time, unless it's just an errand or something. If it's an errand, then don't worry about making it snazzy or anything else. Just do your errands and move on with your life. But if it's something like a long-term plan, you got to plan for the future. Okay? People in this day and age really need to learn how to plan for the future, because we have all these people making economic decisions about their life, about their health, not really understanding that 10 years is a long time. Okay? People don't realize how long 10 years really is. Sure, in the grand scheme of things it's not, but in the grand scheme of things, in the human lifespan, it's quite a bit. That's about a little more than a tenth of your life, depending on what country you're in. Okay? 10 years is not, baby face. No, 10 years, you go from unable to walk to being able to run and kick, or from unable to spell properly to having to write college essays, or working, depending on your choice in life. Okay, I've always been an advocate of trade school, but that really just depends on your case. Do you want to, if you really don't care about how you get your money, You just want it to be legal, go to a trade, or just honestly just make some friends. You make some friends, maybe they can hook you up with a nice little deal. Okay. Nepotism is, well, no matter how hard you fight it, it's going to occur. and I know a lot of people don't like that, but the truth about nepotism is that it will occur no matter how hard you fight it. It's it's just human. It's a human element that people hate, but it's true. It's such a human trait that you just got to get used to it. It sucks in the context of a competitive event, but if we're talking about personal decisions, okay, there's like, let's say there's a company fire and your boss has a son who works at the same place you work, and he can only save one person. Who's he saving? You or his kid? Well, the obvious answer is his kid, obviously. Why? Well, because of familial bonds. It's nepotism, I know, but and that's the reason. Does that sound super unprofessional? Yes, but does that make sense on a level that is human? Yes, as well. Okay, because humans are imperfect creatures. I'm imperfect. I think we're all imperfect. If you can point to me to anyone who's perfect, I'll call you a liar first. But if you can show me otherwise, then I'll be impressed. Okay. Yeah, place your bets. Then do you believe you're Mr. Perfect, Miss Perfect? Do you believe you know someone who's Mr. or Mrs. Perfect? Or Miss Perfect? I don't know. Okay, it could be Mr. or Mrs. at this point, and I would not be able to tell you. Oh, so I do show the start of the ladder system of the stairway to the roof of the mob farm, but I don't actually show the completion. But I do. One thing I do know is that I show the placement of the torches. That much is for certain. However, it's also not the thing that I most value in the circumstance. And why is my voice recording at such a low volume? I'm pretty sure I'm speaking quite loudly, but then again, my mics are always weird. This isn't the Logitech that I wanted to use. This is a different kind of laptop headset. It's not a gaming headset. It's a headset for professional calls and everything. So it's not as loud as a gaming headset. It's not as loud as a recording mic or any of that. It's just loud enough to pick up my sound for anyone who may want to listen or watch a, I don't know, presentation of mine. Okay, maybe I could do some presentations on PowerPoint because I like PowerPoint. I know a lot of people don't like PowerPoint, but personally I do. Okay, and around this time I just, yeah, I start building the finishing touches of the staircase. However, I realized that this is going to take a lot longer than I originally anticipated. In fact, this took more time simply because I don't think I had all the resources with me. If I actually decided to take all the resources with me, but then again, that's the end of the video. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and never mind, I'm a liar. This just straight up is not sped up. Why? Oh, never mind. That's the end of the video. Okay. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you for watching.